Hello, it is Dr. Cinema again. I want I was going over some of the sequels of Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Elm Street. I realized something. Each of these franchises has an abandoned storyline that was about to become something, but they decided to go in a different direction. Now, let me explain a little bit what each of these abandoned storylines are. Let's start with Friday the 13th. Now, in the fourth film, the final chapter, one of the main characters of the film was named Tommy, a 12-year kid who ended up distracting Jason for a little bit while his sister got the upper hand, but Tommy was the one that actually ended up killing Jason in the movie. And so in the fifth movie, New Beginning, he's in a mental hospital, he begins hallucinating about Jason past events, and at the end of the movie, he takes the Jason mask, puts it on himself, and it ends with him about to attack someone. Now, the idea of this was to make Tommy's the new killer of the Friday the 13th franchise, which would have actually been pretty interesting. However, they did not end up doing that. Instead, had Tommy come up in part 6, Jason lives and just sorts of becomes, like, again, the hero to fight against Jason Voorhees, but Tommy never again appears in the franchise after part 6. Now, the reasoning for this is that they wanted Jason to still keep being the killer. Because at this point, Jason Voorhees has been seen as sort of like the icon, the mascot of the franchise. They saw Jason as sort of the person that brings fans back to see more movies. And in a sense, they were kind of right, but. And Jason Lives, in my opinion, is the best film of the franchise, mostly because it embraces the tongue-in-cheek humor and comedy of the movies. But it still would have been very interesting to see what would happen if this storyline about Tommy becoming the new killer would have worked out. Now, let's go into the second abandoned storyline in the Halloween franchise. As you may know, the first two Halloween films occurred on the same night and were basically surrounding the exact same events and people. The third film was an anthology story, but that's not really the one we were going to go after. The abandoned storyline I'm talking about is the one that first pops up in Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers, where Michael Myers is attacking his niece, Jamie, who is with a foster family ever since Laurie was killed in between movies and car accident. The character, not the actual actress. The actress came back later. So, anyway, Michael is trying to get to his niece and try to kill her, but of course, Michael gets stopped. But at the end of this movie, Jamie has her clown costume, puts on her little clown-like mask thing, and with a pair of scissors, stabs and kills her foster mother, who falls down the stairs where Dr. Loomis is, and he sees Jamie in a very similar stance and position that Michael was in the original film, which causes Dr. Loomis to sort of break down a little bit. Now, to have Jamie become the killer would have actually been very interesting. We could have actually seen a sort of transformation of victim girl to new killer that embodies the evilness that inhabited Michael Myers. However, similar to what happened with Friday the 13th, they wanted Michael to come back because he was the icon. That was the whole main reason why Halloween 3 never really took off, because people wanted to see Michael Myers. So Michael Myers was brought back in the fifth one, and Jamie, she was mute, but she was sort of like back to like being like more like her old self and not really evil. And even the foster mom apparently survived. Like, how can you just explain that away? I would have actually loved to see like the growing up of a new Michael Myers-like killer in the franchise. That would have been different. But of course, the fifth one came and it was pretty much similar to all the other ones. Now let's talk about the third abandoned storyline. Now, this is Friday the 13th 2. No, not Friday the 13th. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge. Focus on Jesse as the main protagonist. You know, this is the one where Jesse is fighting control for his body away from Freddy, and Jesse wins. And it was a very different movie, and I applaud them for being so different. They're actually willing to try new stuff. And unlike with this film, they didn't want to get rid of Freddy Krueger. Hell, Robert Englund is always excellent as Freddy Krueger, so they're never really going to get rid of him. But it would have been interesting to see a sort of Jesse meets Nancy Thompson kind of film show up in a future sequel. And I think that might have been what the film was building up to. Or at the very least, focus on different other characters being haunted by Freddy Krueger. However, as you can tell, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, due to the homosexual subtext of the film, subtext, it got a lot of backlash. And even though it's really well liked today, it attracted so much criticism that the people just went back to having Nancy Thompson come back in the third movie and sort of doing something different, but not really come back to Jesse at all. And like I said, Dream Warriors was a little bit of a different story, having Nancy Thompson mentor new kids and fight back against Freddy, and the fourth and fifth films focused on a new girl that was mentored by Nancy taking down Freddy Krueger. And this storyline is the most befuddling one because if we focus on Jesse, or at least or at least not abandon the Jesse storyline, it would have probably been actually pretty good. I mean, this was not about the whole having Freddy Krueger come back, because this wasn't about changing killers, it's about changing protagonists. I'm confused as to why Jesse was completely forgotten. I mean, that was actually a good movie. So these are abandoned storylines, and as you can tell, a lot of the reasons why these storylines were never followed through is due to studios saying it has to focus on this person, or that it just got too much criticism and controversy, decided to do something a little bit more familiar and a little bit more safe. But there's recently been talks about Friday the 13th giving Tommy from Friday the 13th a sort of H2O like reboot, sort of. And if they can do that with Tommy, if they do end up following through with that, we can also do a reboot of Elm Street, focus on Jesse's story this time, sort of have Jesse team up with Nancy. That's what I think I would really like to see. But these abandoned storylines really makes you wonder, what if this happened? What if we went down this road? Would we actually got better sequels? That's a question I'm going to have to leave you guys with. Oh, shut it. So, like, comment your thoughts, subscribe, share. See you next time.